Hello and welcome to another of our videos, and this one is on exercise. Now, please stay with me. I'm guessing here that a lot of you who are watching these videos have had problems about exercise. You've been overweight and you felt that exercise really was not for you. You didn't want to go to the gym, you didn't want to go to yoga things because you felt that you would stand out because you're too heavy. Also, I remember having a client actually who was extremely overweight. I would say, "Why don't you walk to work?" And she'd say, "Because I get so sweaty and then I can't sit there for the whole of the day." And that is a problem. And I think she used to say that her thighs sort of rubbed together and it was uncomfortable. So I do appreciate that exercise can be a real bone of contention for people, but of course it makes so much difference to our lives. Now, let me tell you something. I'm 77. I didn't do any formal exercise till I was 41. I mean, I was busy and rushing around, but I didn't do anything. And I was hopeless at sports at school. In fact, I was the child who nobody wanted for the rounders team because they used to say, "Don't have Christine Webber, she can't catch the ball." And it took until I was 41 when I married my lovely husband, who was quite sporty, and we took up tennis together. And he used to say, "Keep your eye on the ball." And I went, "What?" He said, "Has nobody ever told you that? How do you catch things if you don't have your eye on the ball?" And I thought, well, that was obviously why, because I never did have my eye on the ball. So what I'm saying to you is it's never too late to get into some form of exercise, and really it will help you because it will improve your health no end. There's a wonderful book about staying as young as possible for as long as possible, and I'm very keen on those sort of books. It's by a chap called Peter Attia, and he says if you're going to do just one thing for your health, just one thing, it should be exercise. So let's work out what we could do that you could possibly join in with. The thing is that exercise can become your greatest friend, and you can get to the point where you enjoy it, but it takes a bit of effort to get to that point. So how are you going to do it? Well, the first thing is you've got to pick something that you might like. I mean, for example, if I had to swim all day, that's like watching paint dry for me. I simply don't get it. I mean, in nice tropical waters, if you could ever get there, that would be a different thing, but in the swimming bath, no. So what could you do? Well, I mean, you know, a lot of people do like competitive things, badminton, tennis, maybe. If you've got grandchildren, football in the park with them. Walking, of course, is the obvious thing. I mean, I actually walk over 20 miles a week now, and I feel better for doing that. And it's just a question of organising it. And yes, probably getting a decent pair of shoes. Go to somewhere like Go Outdoors or Minutes or somewhere and get yourself a pair of decent shoes. Walking doesn't cost anything apart from the shoes. And, you know, you can, I know it's easier perhaps for me, I live in the country, but if you're in town, then there might be a river you can walk along beside. You can always do it. Have a think about it. See if one of your friends wants to do some walking. So many people do. But whatever it is, have a list, you know, look, Google, what are the interesting sports? See if there's something that would appeal to you. If there's something that appeals to you, the chances are you will do it. Now, the other thing I want to tell you about this is that exercise is not just about the body. It's not just about our physical health. It's hugely important for mental health. For a start, there's been loads of research which has shown that if you keep active, you're less likely to be depressed. So that's quite important. But it's also important to recognise that the brain needs exercise. And this is quite new science. I mean, if I say in the last 20 years maybe. Why is that? Well, it turns out that there is no sort of barrier between the body and the brain. It's all part of the same blood system and everything. And if you do the sort of exercise that will benefit your heart, it will also benefit your brain. File that away, because most of us are at least as worried about brain deterioration as body deterioration. So exercise is the key here. And I'm going to tell you about the study that convinced me to get moving. There have been so many studies since then, but this is way back, probably about 2007, and I read about it in a book called Spark by a Harvard professor called John Ratey. So in this study, they took a group of people from age 60 to 79. They'd all previously, by the way, been really sedentary people. They physically assessed them with all sorts of tests. They also gave them brain scans. Then they were randomly divided into two groups. One group did sort of gentle stretching 3 times a week for about an hour at a time, and the other lot did walking on a treadmill 3 times a week for about an hour, and they increased, obviously, their speed and got with it. Now, I don't think you'd need a degree in physical science to recognise that the people who got active on the treadmill were probably doing better. And they certainly did do better, and they'd improved their lung function by 16%. But the huge difference was when their brains were scanned, their brain had increased in volume in some key areas, the sort of areas where we keep our personality, where we speak, where we empathise, really important areas of the brain, and the brain volume had increased. This was quite staggering at the time. I mean, it's commonplace now to think that way in science, but it wasn't then. So will that get you out and exercise? It did me. I'll see you next time.